Have you ever felt that strange ache inside you, the kind that doesn't come from a wound you can point to? It lingers like a heavy fog in your chest, even when life seems to be going just fine on the surface. Maybe you've tried everything. Meditation, advice from friends, numbing it with distractions, pretending to smile through it all. But still, the weight remains. The ache doesn't leave. It hides behind every laugh, every accomplishment, every quiet night you lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering why it still hurts. Let me tell you something most people won't. Most of the pain you carry isn't caused by the world outside. It isn't your job, your relationship, or your bank account. No, the true source of your suffering lies deeper. It's the part of yourself you've buried, the voice you've silenced, the truth you've refused to face. Carl Jung once said, "What you do not bring to consciousness appears in your life as fate." And if that fate keeps wounding you in the same places over and over again, maybe it's not just bad luck. Maybe it's a message. You've been running, disguising your wounds with temporary pleasure, masking your loneliness with shallow connection, telling yourself this feeling will pass. But it doesn't, does it? That's because pain isn't meant to be ignored. It's meant to be understood. It's not your enemy. It's your teacher. And no, this isn't just another feel-good self-help monologue filled with cliches and simple mantras. I'm not here to wrap your pain in a bow. I'm here to challenge you, to provoke something raw and honest inside you, to drag into the light what you've been hiding even from yourself. Give me your time, just your full presence for a while, and I promise something inside you will shift. Maybe you're at your breaking point. Maybe you've learned to walk with pain so long it feels like part of who you are. Whatever brought you here, I want to tell you this. Your suffering isn't a life sentence. It's a signal, a wake-up call from within, whispering that you've strayed too far from your true self. And that disconnect between who you are and who you pretend to be, that is the real root of suffering. It's easy to blame others, your partner, your boss, society, the pressures of adulthood. And yes, these things can weigh on us, no doubt. But what truly crushes the soul is not what happens outside. It's what we abandon inside. Jung said, "The greatest tragedy of the soul is to live a life that is not your own." From childhood, we're taught to conform, to be good, to follow the script handed to us. And somewhere along the way, we betray ourselves, piece by piece. You trade authenticity for acceptance. You become what others need you to be. Quiet, agreeable, productive, successful. Whatever earns love and avoids conflict. You stifle your desires, you suppress your emotions, you hide your truth so deeply that now even you don't know where to find it. And yet, your soul remembers. It screams in the language of anxiety. It weeps through sleepless nights. It whispers in the apathy that slowly eats away your joy. That is the cost of self-abandonment. And make no mistake, it's not your failure that hurts most. It's the distance between your truth and the role you're performing. It's not loneliness that shatters you. It's forgetting who you are when you're alone. It's not the world that wounds you. It's you every time you shrink yourself to maintain the illusion that you're fine. This is why no external fix ever lasts, because the wound isn't out there. It's in the part of you that you left behind. And the pain, it's not punishment. It's a call back home. Jung believed that suffering was the spark that begins transformation. That pain exists to remind us of who we really are. So stop running, start listening. What is it you've buried? What part of you have you silenced? The most dangerous force in the human psyche is also the most liberating, and it's the part you fear most. Jung called it the shadow, everything we deny, repress, or refuse to face within ourselves. And until you meet it, truly and honestly, you will never be free. Because here's the truth. You don't suffer because you're broken. You suffer because there's a war inside you, between the person you've become and the person you were meant to be. Anxiety, rage, guilt, sadness. These aren't flaws to eliminate. They are smoke from the fire burning beneath the shadow you've tried to keep locked away. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That is what the shadow does. It leaks into your decisions, sabotages your peace, ruins your relationships, all while you think it's bad luck or the fault of others. But it's not bad luck. It's your shadow demanding to be seen. We all have one. Every single one of us. Your shadow is made up of the pieces of you that didn't fit the version of acceptable that was modeled for you. Your shame, your anger, your ambition, your repressed desires, your forbidden needs. You may think you've buried them, but they're still there, still alive, still influencing every choice you make, until you stop pretending they're not real. Think of every time you lashed out without knowing why. Every time you pushed away someone good or stayed in a situation that hurt you. Every time you heard your own voice scream in your head but couldn't speak it aloud. That's the shadow. That's the part of you you've left in the dark. But here's the key. The shadow is not your enemy. It's a part of your soul you abandoned, and now it's demanding you reclaim it. Jung didn't teach us to destroy the shadow. He taught us to integrate it. Because what you reject weakens you, and what you accept, what you embrace, sets you free. So what do you do now that you've seen it? You don't fix it. You face it. You walk toward it, not away. This is where healing begins, not in understanding alone, but in action. Not in avoiding discomfort, but in choosing the hard path with open eyes. Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And that's what you must do now. Make it conscious. Own it. Speak it. Feel it. This journey will take courage, the kind of courage that doesn't mean fearlessness, but action in the face of fear. It means you stop pretending, stop explaining, stop blaming. You take the mirror in your hands and you look, really look, at the parts of yourself you've been most afraid to meet. Your jealousy, your cruelty, your bitterness, your need, your confusion, your hunger for love. They're all pieces of you, not to be judged, not to be hidden, but to be heard, to be held, to be healed. You begin by listening. When your body aches, when your chest tightens, when the fatigue becomes unbearable, those are signals, not symptoms. The body knows. It remembers everything the mind tried to forget. Start paying attention. Write your dreams. Watch your triggers. Notice the patterns that keep looping like broken records. Every time you're knocked off balance, there's a message. Your job is not to escape it, it's to understand it. Deep, honest writing helps. Not the kind you post, but the kind you hide. The kind you write like it's a confession to your soul. No censors, no filters, just truth. Every thought you're ashamed of, every feeling you fear, every word you've never dared to say aloud, let it out. Because the moment you give your silence a voice, it begins to lose its power over you. And if you can, find someone to guide you through the jungle of your own mind. A therapist, a mentor, a witness who can help you decode the symbols your unconscious is sending. Jung believed the unconscious wasn't a place to dump the parts we hate. It's a vast intelligence trying to heal us in the only way it knows how, by sending us signals in the form of discomfort, confusion, even despair. The question is, will you listen? Because until you stop running, suffering will keep hunting you. But when you turn and face it, it begins to change. And in that moment, you begin to change. That pain you feared all this time, it's not a curse, it's a doorway. The courage to embrace it, to sit with it, to truly feel it without resistance. You begin to reclaim the parts of you that were lost in the chaos. You begin to understand that every wound, no matter how deep, holds within it a key to your own liberation. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." And this choice begins the moment you stop identifying with your wounds and start engaging with them as pathways to wholeness. When you take that first trembling step into your inner world, you may feel overwhelmed. There is so much you've buried, so many truths you've denied, so much pain you've tried to numb. But in that first act of honesty, a door begins to open. You are no longer running. You are listening. You are showing up for yourself in a way you never have before. You start to realize something profound. Your pain isn't a punishment. It's a message, a map. It has never been against you. It has always been for you. Every sleepless night, every anxious breath, every lonely tear has been trying to get your attention, trying to bring you back to a truth you once knew as a child. That you are not broken. You are becoming. That what you call weakness is the birthplace of empathy. That your vulnerability is not shameful. It is sacred. We live in a world that teaches us to fear our emotions, to suppress them, to put on a mask of strength and carry on. But true strength lies not in suppression, but in integration. To cry is not to collapse, it is to cleanse. To rage is not to be monstrous, it is to reclaim the fire that's been buried too long. To tremble with uncertainty is not to be lost, it is to be in motion. Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." And you are waking up. With each moment of presence, you learn to navigate your inner terrain not as an enemy, but as an explorer. You stop labeling feelings as good or bad, right or wrong. You start seeing them as information, as messengers. The sadness that visits you after a conversation that felt off. It's telling you something about your boundaries. The anger that flares when someone speaks over you. It's reminding you that your voice matters. The fear that creeps in before a big decision. It's asking you to look deeper. Are you acting from truth or from fear of rejection? When you live in alignment with yourself, emotions are not threats, they're guides. They point you back to your values, your unmet needs, your deepest longings. They are not evidence of failure, they are proof that you are alive and attuned. And yet, this alignment requires continual courage, because the world will keep trying to pull you out of yourself. It will seduce you with comfort, distract you with noise, reward you for being who you are not. You will be tempted to abandon yourself again and again. But the more you practice this inner listening, the stronger you become. Not the brittle strength of someone who pretends to have it all together, but the grounded strength of someone who knows their own depths and chooses to remain rooted even in the storm. You begin to realize that life is not about avoiding the storm, but about learning how to dance in the rain. You see that happiness is not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of self-connection, even amidst difficulty. And this self-connection extends to others. When you learn to embrace your own darkness, you naturally begin to hold space for others. You stop judging their messiness because you've seen your own. You stop trying to fix them because you've learned that healing is an inside job. You become more patient, more compassionate, more real. And in doing so, your relationships transform, not into perfect fairy tales, but into sacred containers of mutual growth. You no longer need people to complete you, only to meet you. You no longer sacrifice your truth for approval. You no longer chase love. You become it. Because the deepest form of love is not found in someone else, it's found in the mirror, in the quiet moment when you finally say to yourself, "I see you, I hear you, I will not leave you again." This is not a one-time realization, it is a lifelong path. Some days you will walk it with clarity and grace, other days you will crawl through confusion and grief. But no matter the pace, what matters is the direction. And that direction is always inward, always home. As you keep walking, you start to reclaim the parts of you that were lost in shame, buried in trauma, silenced by society. You begin to see your own story not as a tragedy, but as a heroic journey. Every wound becomes a scar, and every scar becomes a badge of survival. You no longer hide them, you honor them. They are proof that you stayed, that you felt, that you lived. Jung believed that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And this privilege is yours to claim, not through perfection but through presence, not through control but through surrender, not through doing more but through being more authentic, more aware, more aligned. You stop asking the world to change and start changing your relationship to the world. You stop waiting for others to see you and start seeing yourself. You stop chasing peace and realize it's been inside you all along, beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the mask. And here, in this place of inner stillness, something sacred begins to happen. The same pain that once haunted you begins to inspire you. The same fear that once paralyzed you begins to guide you. The same loneliness that once crushed you becomes the space in which you meet your soul. And from this place you create, you speak, you move. Not from obligation, but from inspiration. Not to impress, but to express. Not to earn worth, but to reflect the worth that has always been yours. So let this be the beginning, not of a new performance, but of a true becoming. Let this be the moment you stop searching for answers outside and start trusting what has always been inside. Let this be the day you choose to live not from fear, but from truth. Because in the end, this is the essence of healing. Not fixing yourself, but finding yourself. Not becoming someone else, but remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Not erasing your past, but embracing it, learning from it, and allowing it to make you whole. And perhaps most of all, healing is about love. Not the conditional love that comes and goes, but the fierce, unwavering love that says, I will show up for myself again and again, no matter what. That love is your birthright. That love is your medicine. That love is your power. Jung once said, your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. May this be the moment you wake up. Not to a perfect life, but to a real one. Not to a world without pain, but to a world where your pain becomes your teacher, your ally, your path to freedom.